Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Youth Connect. I'm Aiden.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Joshua.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to another episode of Youth Connect. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are excited today. I'm just going to warn you guys in advance that we do not have Nibras with us today, but as you know, we are a team. And a team always works together. So don't worry. I have with you some podcast news. So I've got it covered. But what in the world is Youth Connect? For anybody who doesn't know what Youth Connect is a youth interest entertainment show that was created during the pandemic for the community, by the community. And everyone here is advocates for all abilities. And you know what? We are very much into getting into business with becoming broadcasters, or maybe starting music, or becoming like album cover artists like myself, or maybe even I want to do maybe some painting or that. We're very much a team that is going to bring you some news that is going to have you on the edge of your seat. You got some entertainment, you got some world news, you got some animal news. It's got everything. But if you know, with Youth Connect, the first thing that we always have to start off with is some gaming news. All right, guys, for the first part of Youth Connect, we always have to start off with our video game news. But what specifically? It's the video game of the week. And it's usually a game that I want you guys to check out. And let me tell you guys, it usually is a game that is recently came out, is coming out, or an old classic. But we are going with the first option, and we're going to tackle a game that may seem a bit scary, but let me tell you, is much more fun as it seems. And today's game of the week is Have a Nice Death. What? What game is this? Well, Have a Nice Death has had a very interesting game development. Firstly released a few months ago, but 2 days ago, recently fully had the end of the story and has a fully completed game. So that's absolutely amazing. Now, what is Have a Nice Death? Well, it's a 2D action roguelike game where you play as an overworked death whose employees have run rampant, completely throwing up the balance of souls and his vacation plans. So in frustration and in order to restore order, you'll have to grab your trusty scythe and show your employees who's boss. And since death can't die, you can use what you have learned and earned to overcome the numerous minions and bosses in each department of Death Incorporated over and over again. A performance review after every run guarantees that you unlock interesting items and upgrades that will help you progress on your journey. As much as this may seem like a scary game, like, oh my gosh, it's all about death, it's actually really not that scary. The story is Death's going on vacation, but all of the departments start going on their own, so he has to cancel his plans and finally kind of get control of Death Incorporated. It's a little bit of a fun game. It's not too dark and it's not too scary. And if you guys like 2D roguelike games, I recommend that you check it out because I will be playing it later today. And it's going to probably be a lot of fun. Trust you me. Again, guys, it is called Have a Nice Death on Switch and PC. Anyways, though, next up is Kevin, and Kevin has with us some all-important news, but of course, some awesome weather news as well, and maybe even some random facts of the day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Youth Connect with me, Kevin Aruja. For now, let's go over to headlines. An Ontario 2023 budget, money for supportive housing, new tax credits, and 5 other highlights. Shake Shack is also coming to Toronto. The crowds of Toronto shoppers lined up for grand reopening of Zellers. And Andruscu defeats Raducanu. Fernandez tops Surenko in Miami. Ontario Premier Doug Ford government has tabled a budget that forecasts a return to supply surplus sooner than previously predicted, while also warning of economic headwinds related to inflation, interest rates, and the war in Ukraine. The budget is short on major promises but include more money for supportive housing for homeless people, healthcare and mental health treatment, as well as tax credits for manufacturing. The Ontario government is projecting to balance the books by 2024 to 25, 3 years earlier than forecasted in last year's budget. The budget is also includes new tax credits and expanded relief eligibility for small businesses. The Shake Shack's famous crinkle cut fries are coming to Canada after a brief stint in the city with a one-day pop-up in the former Momofuku Daisho in downtown Toronto back in 2017. The fast food chain announced it's finally ready to make a permanent commitment north of the border. The Shake Shack's Canadian flagship location will settle in Toronto in 2024 with a plan to expand to 35 locations across the country by 2035. A Shake Shack spokesperson told CTV News Toronto that they could not share the location of the flagship in Toronto. The crowds of nostalgic shoppers poured into Zellers as its Canadian retail chain opened its doors once again at its selected stores in Ontario. Before the store opened at 10 a.m. on Thursday, shoppers lined up at the rain outside of Scarborough Town Centre, one of the selected locations opening in the province. On March 14th, Sellers announced it would be reopening 25 stores across Ontario and Alberta and relaunching its e-commerce platform after being closed for about a decade. In the Greater Toronto Area, the retailer welcomed shoppers at Erin Mills Town Centre in Mississauga and Burlington Mall in Burlington. In addition to the location in Scarborough, across Ontario, Zellers is back open for business in Cambridge, Kingston, London, Ottawa, and St. Catharines. While Zeddy did not make an appearance on opening day, the chain's mascot is expected to come back soon. And on sports news, Bianca Andreescu and Leyla Fernandez complete a first-round sweep for Canadians in the women's single draw at the Miami Open with wins on Wednesday. Andreescu from Mississauga, Ontario, defeated Britain's Emma Raducanu 6 out of 3, 3 out of 6, and 6 out of 2 in a matchup of former U.S. Open champions, and Fernandez of Laval in Quebec downed Ukraine's Lesia Tsurenko with a 6 out of 4 with 6 out of 3 at the WTA / Masters 1000 tennis tournament. Andreescu and Fernandez joined Vancouver's Rebecca Ramino and Toronto's Catherine Zebov in the second round of the draw. And Andreescu has 7 aces to Raducanu's 2 and won 67.2% of first serve points to improve to 2 out of 0 against her British opponent. Andreescu In weather, today is a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 6 degrees. A special weather statement that has been issued for Saturday and early morning. A risk of freezing rain is possible, which will rapidly transition to rain as temperatures quickly rise above zero. Travel might be affected on Saturday morning. In addition to the rain, strong winds gusting up to 70 or 80 kilometers per hour are also expected Saturday into Saturday night. Given the forecast of these strong winds, local power outage are possible, and Sunday will be cloudy with sunny breaks, highs of 7 and lows of -3 at night. Another interesting fact of the week is mushrooms. Yes, who likes mushrooms? Well, I do. You have seen mushrooms growing in woods or grassy regions where moisture is available in plenty. These are basically a common form of fungus. Some kind of mushrooms are used in foods, but there are also some mushrooms that are poisonous. Therefore, we advise not to pick any mushrooms that grow in the wild and eat them as they can be poisonous. Mushrooms are a fungus and do not need sunlight to make energy for themselves. Mushrooms contain around 90% out of water. The different species of edible mushrooms are a great source of vitamin B, essential minerals like potassium and copper, In mushrooms, salt content, carbohydrates, and fat are very, very low. Therefore, they are considered a very nutritious food. The mushrooms is used to make tasty dishes in different cuisines throughout the world and is referred to as the meat of the vegetable world. The medicinal properties of mushrooms have been used in traditional Chinese medicines for centuries. China is the country where edible mushrooms are produced in the largest quantity in the world. Mushrooms can be used for antioxidants, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatories. Mushrooms are also helpful in reducing blood pressure, moderating blood sugar, reducing cholesterol, enhancing the immune system, reducing stress, and helping in fighting many types of cancer. A single portobello mushrooms, which is a species of mushrooms, can contain more potassium than a banana. That's all we have time for today, folks. I'm sending you back to Aiden. See you guys.
I gotta say, Kevin, you know what? First of all, you have a very active dog. It was just walking about, and I could see it in your background. Absolutely adorable. And also for weather, you know what, guys? If you've been noticing, it's been getting a little bit warmer. It seems to be getting a little bit colder again. But you know what? If I see more sunny, more, if it gets at a certain temperature, I'm going to have to pull out my hammock because you know what? It's time to bring out all of the things. But, you know, I might need to wait a little bit longer because the weather has been a little bit funky. And also, when you said mushrooms, I thought to myself, like Mario? Pretty interesting. And you know what? I did not know that mushrooms had so much and such positive, so much health benefits that it has. But did you guys know that you can find mushrooms in the wild? But be careful because you should always be able to find which ones are dangerous and which ones are edible. Pretty interesting stuff. And I'll ask for everyone else. So Jeff and obviously you, Joshua, what did you guys think of Kevin's news?
I thought it was very interesting. Definitely the mushrooms was very interesting.
I agree on that. You know what? I learned a little bit more about mushrooms than I knew because I thought mushrooms were just ingredients that you would put on some pasta or some pizza. I did not know any particular information, but you know what? Kevin expands my mind and teaches me new things. So thank you so much, Kevin, for your news. All right, guys, time to move on to the second gaming news. Now, what in the world am I going to be talking about? Well, I know this may be a shocker because the last time that we had a Youth Connect, the one before, not the March break one, I talked about Fortnite. But guess what? Fortnite dropped another amazing update, which I really think that you guys should learn about because you know what? It leads to opportunities to build games in Fortnite. And I've been hearing rumors that there might be a fully developed FNAF game. So if you know, Epic Games has given a new set of tools to give Fortnite creators even more power. So guys, these new tools are called the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, and they aim to bring some of the power of the full Unreal Engine 5 into it, making them a little bit more approachable, while also allowing entirely new creations and games to be developed inside of Fortnite. The UEFN tools were announced and it debuted during Epic's State of Unreal presentation at the Game Developers Conference 2023. So why is this really interesting? Well, this means that people have more opportunities to build a whole bunch of different stuff because Unreal Editor is great for experienced game developers, but it's also designed to be a user-friendly tool for Fortnite's many island creators and hobbyists. As such, for myself, I've checked out some of the 2.0 maps, and let me just say, it's quite interesting to see fully developed things being released. Obviously, it's nothing too crazy just yet because it's just released a week ago, but from the stuff that has been released, there has been some awesome developments, which includes, if you are an OG Fortnite member, because I remember when I first started playing it, before there was even season 1, like I was in the beta release that my friend sent me. And guess what? People are developing with the 2.0 map all of the original designs for the original Fortnite maps, including and more particularly the original Fortnite map, which existed in Chapter 1, Season 3. That is a long time ago. That was probably about 3-4 years ago, I would say, or even longer, I think. It's not an official release from Epic, but the OG map comes from one of its partnered marketing companies. So, I mean, it's slightly unofficial release, but not entirely. But the factor is, guys, is that this leads to more opportunities to build entirely new games using the Fortnite engine. Do you know what this sounds entirely like? It sounds similar to Roblox, but Roblox doesn't use the Unity engine. And trust you me, guys, the Unity engine has a lot of potential. For example, Octopath Traveler 2 was made in Unreal Engine. So you'll never know what they're going to create. And I'm so excited to see what kind of creations come out of it. Anyways, though, I hope you guys are ready because next up is Joshua with some good story news and, of course, your very favorite animal news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Youth Connect now for a good news story. An 81-year-old man survived on croissants, candy, and biscotti after a snowstorm left him stranded on a desolate California highway alone for nearly a week. Jerry Jarrett's family eventually called the Inyo County Sheriff's Office to report a missing person after the math expert and former NASA employee never made it to his destination of Granderville, 3 hours away from his mountain house in Big Pine. Apparently, he has set off in good weather. There was a snowstorm in the forecast, but Jared thought he could arrive safely before the winter weather began. CNN reports that the petite man was not prepared for the weather, wearing only a light windbreaker and a light quilt and a hotel bath towel were only things Jared had to keep himself warm. He smartly covered his car battery and gas for several days and only starting the SUV's engine from time to time to warm up. He rolled down his window occasionally to eat snow, but that survival technique to keep him safe hydrated backfired on the third day when the battery died while rolling out the window. That's probably when he wished modern cars also featured non-electric manual crank windows in case of emergency, because it then remained open a few inches of the remainder of his ordeal. Amid the search, one of the helicopters pilot spotted something he initially thought was a large rock, reported CNN. A closer look revealed a vehicle, then the pilot spotted a worm waving out the small opening in the car window. Miraculously, the senior was discharged from the hospital later that evening, suffering only from dehydration. Officials took the opportunity to remind everyone to always be prepared for unexpected events and have a safety plan in place when traveling through the mountains. Now for another good news story. Being a barber is not what Dave Lawrence dreamed of becoming when he was young. Lawrence smiles, pointing out how the walls of his that's 50 barber shop include vintage pictures of Batman and Superman, plus a remarkable piece dispenser collection featuring all sorts of pop culture characters. If there was one superhero who young Lawrence would have wanted to be, it was Superman. With great power comes great responsibility. Great responsibility, Lawrence laughed, reciting Spider-Man's iconic phrase, when Lawrence was young, his single mom always did the best she could for him and others. She helped a lot of people, Lawrence says, even if she didn't have the means to even if she didn't have the means to. But when Lawrence grew up and started hearing countless stories from his cousins about children growing up in poverty, he realized he could relate. So instead of Spider-Man's web shooters, Lawrence brandished his barbering tools and started offering back to school haircuts for free. And if the kids drew him a picture or read him a story while having haircut, Lawrence also arranged to give them a backpack full of new school supplies, clothes, and books. That first year, Lawrence says he and his team of volunteers helped 75 kids. Now, after 8 years, his Fresh Start program has grown to support more than 1,000 children a year. Lawrence says his hope is that the kids have a positive, worry-free start to their school year. Just like how Lawrence will never forget how Spider-Man instilled in him the responsibility to wield whatever power he may grow up to have to help others. It's almost like how Lawrence will never forget the mom who may not have lived long enough to fully see how heroic her boy would be. No doubt couldn't be more proud. Now turning to animal interest news. A family of transient orca put on a show for passenger aboard a large BC ferries vessel this past weekend. Video of the encounter shows at least six transient orcas swimming in active paths near a BC ferries vessel sailing between Vancouver Island, Swartz Bay, and Tawasin in British Columbia. Rachel Hayden, a marine naturalist with environmental group Sailors Sea Orca Squad, recorded the video while she was on a marine endpoint road on Galliano Island. Hayden lives in an area overlooking pass which flows between southern Galliano Island and northern Main Island. So we actually see orcas and other whales often, especially in active pass, she told CTV News. The whales entered the pass and hunted down some seals, according to Hayden, that they looked back around and exited the same way they entered. At the same time, a BC ferry vessel was traveling through active pass. The ferry already knew that orcas were coming into the pass because there were other vessels in the pass and they always communicate, said Hayden. She says the ferry did a good job of slowing down and that passengers flocked to the side of the vessel to catch a glimpse of the orcas. We observe BC ferries all the time in active pass with the whales and they do a really good job of trying to slow down for mammals and whales without endangering other vessels or passengers on board, she said. Wow, it must have been such a treat for those ferry passengers to watch the orca whales in action. This is Josh's show reporting for Youth Connect. That's it for me now. I'll send it back to you, Aiden.
You know what, Joshua? Out of the two news that you gave, I think I like the first and third one the most. You know what? An 81-year-old surviving an entire week in a snowbank. Trust you me, I would get a little bit anxious because being stuck inside of a car is one, very cold, two, really rough, and especially if you're just eating croissants and candy, because if you know, you need to have a balanced diet. But you know what? If you're surviving, you can eat literally anything as long as it provides sustenance for the body. And he ate the snow, which is a genius idea of getting water. Absolutely incredible. And you know what? I would be entirely delighted to see some orcas while I was on a ferry. I'm not a big boat person because I get a bit, nauseous every once in a while. And you know what? Just the waves makes me a little bit queasy. But for everyone else, you, Kevin, and of course you, Jeffrey, what did you guys think of Joshua's news?
I like the barber stories. It's good. Did he
Same
buy
here.
bikes
It's based on a superhero.
Superhero. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's a good message. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's based off Spider-Man. That's always cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Joshua. It's always awesome to hear your good story news, and it's always great to hear some animal news as well. Anyways, though, moving on to the final game news, we have Board Game of the Week. Now, what is Board Game of the Week? It's similar to Video Game of the Week, but now it's a board game. And what is today's Board Game of the Week? Well, let me tell you, today's Board Game of the Week is called Bamboo. So for generations, harvesting bamboo has brought prosperity to your home. It's brought work, perseverance, balance, and prayer that has made a small town flourish and has grown at the expense of the cane fields. Today, various clans live in harmony with nature. So what happens in Bamboo? In Bamboo, players take on the role of clans that grow bamboo and use the fruits of their labor to take care of their family and thus add happiness points. This is an action management and optimization game that is both accessible and deep. With a very careful setting, Bamboo is part of the Kamushi saga, with both Bitoku and Silk also belonging. Bamboo games are made up of 4 years or rounds, 4 rounds, I should say, which in turn are divided into 4 phases of seasons. On their turn, players will burn incense in temples to seek favor from the spirits, or use bamboo shoots to perform actions such as seeking balance, cooking, home improvement, or managing finances. So, you know what, guys? This game is not the type of game where you're battling each other. Instead, this game is accumulating the most happiness points. And whoever has the most happiest clan wins the game. Gotta say, it's a board game that is completely off the track of even versing each other. It's still versing, but there's no fighting. There's no attacking each other. It's all about building your separate area. And whoever builds the most and makes everybody the most happiest wins the game. It's a game that is competitive, but it doesn't ruin any friendships. I say that I give this game a thumbs up because you know what? A game without violence is a really cool game because most games, especially board games, need some sort of competitive battle. Now, next up, this is where I would say next up is Nibras, but we don't have Nibras. So I have with you some podcast news. And what specifically is similar to my video game of the week and my board game of the week. It is the podcast of the week. And as Jeffrey gets ready, I'm going to read you a podcast that I think that you should check out. Anyways, though, today the podcast that I've chose with you guys is a little bit on the horror side, so do be watching out. I don't want you guys getting a little bit of a scare here. And today, the podcast of the week is The Town Whispers. Now, what does it mean? The Town Whispers is a narrative horror podcast that will tell the many stories hidden beyond the fog and the trees and the rain of a town called The Fort, where eldritch horrors and folk horrors meet. If you found yourself here, you should have taken a left instead of a right, or looked up when shadows crept from wells that stretched deep into the underground of your town. Ooh, sounds a little bit scary, but you know what? I love it when it's based on a little town because I like a little bit of a podcast with a story, and it's not entirely just one entire story. It's going to be a mixture, but they're all in the setting of the fort, which is the town. And you'll hear a little bit of stories of each and every person living in this place and the dark, creepy, scary stories that they have to tell. It is definitely something that if you guys are too scared, don't check out this podcast. But if you like a good story and you can handle a little bit of scariness, then you should go for it. Remember, guys, this is a podcast. It's only audio. And you know what? If I see something auditorially, it's not that scary as if I saw it in a movie theater. Because if I can visually see it and I can visually imagine it, I think I would be a little bit scared. But auditorially, it's not bad. I don't think I'm using the right word there. But you know what? It's a podcast. It's only audio. And you know what? It's definitely a good thing you should check out. Again, the podcast is called The Town Whispers. It's a podcast that looks really cool, and I hope you check it out. Anyways, though, now that I've talked a little bit about podcast news and I did my final gaming news, I'm just going to ask, hey, Jeff, are you ready to rumble?
Yes, I am.
All right, guys. So next up, we have Jeffrey, our live musician. Get ready to dance because it's Jeffrey with his live music.
Thanks, Aiden. Hi, everybody. Hope you're ready to hear some music. And I have a very, very fun song for you. So hope you're ready to wiggle and jiggle to the song. Here it is, Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Roll your hips side to side. Don't hide, not slide. Shake your hands Empty your pockets, give me a change. Help me grab fate, rearrange, don't hide, no slide. Be the best you can be. Let me hear you say it. You know you wanna wiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Empty your pockets, give me your change. Help me grab fate, rearrange, don't hide, no slide. Be the best you can be, let me hear you say it. Wiggle, jiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let the smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Empty your pockets, give me a change. Help me grab fate, rearrange, don't hide, no slide. Wiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Empty your pockets, give me your change. Help me grab fate, rearrange, don't hide, no slide. Be the best you can be, let me hear you say it. Wiggle, jiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Wiggle, jiggle, jelly roll. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let the smile go. Oh, you're shaking now. Wiggle those hips. Empty your pockets, give me your change. Help me grab fate, rearrange, don't hide, no slide. Wiggle, jiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Wiggle, jiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Wiggle, jiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide, no slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let the smile go. You can do it, yes you can. Wiggle, jiggle, chill your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Roll your hips side to side, don't hide. Let's slide. Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey, your live musician. I'll see you all next week, and I hope you enjoyed my song. And make sure to check out my website, jeffreyakerman.com. Bye everyone.
I love to wiggle and jiggle to the song that is called Jelly Roll. It is a song that is absolutely amazing, guys. And you know what? When Jeff sings it, it just makes me want to bust a move. You know what, Jeff? You are an awesome, awesome, awesome artist, especially with the music that you create. And you know what? It's going to be awesome when we create more songs, and you guys might be able to even listen about them when it comes, and if Jeffrey decides on it, because you know what, there's going to be more songs to come. But unfortunately, we have reached the end of our Youth Connect. If you do like Youth Connect, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click the notification bell.
Other than that, guys, we will see you all next time. Catch you later, guys. Stay groovy, and we'll
Bye.
see you on
Bye.
the weekend. Or we'll technically see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.